Do you ever feel like you've seen every Filipino horror movie ever made? Feng Shui, Sukob, The Road, yung tipong pati jump scares halos ma-memorize mo na. But what if I told you there's a hidden collection of horror films lurking out there? Movies that are so underrated, they're basically the indie bands of the horror world. Today, we're digging up 5 hidden gems you've probably never heard of. Get your flashlights ready because it's gonna get spooky. Okay, before we dive in, quick disclaimer po muna, this list is 100% opinionated, subjective, and powered by too much coffee and questionable life choices. So, if you have underrated picks that didn't make it on the list, don't worry, those are still valid. You can tell me anything I might have missed and we will talk about it in the next video. Let's all be horror geeks together. Alright, let's start with the first movie. You know that creepy feeling when you park in a dark, half-empty basement? Well, Basement said, what if we took that feeling and then cranked it up to 11? A bunch of strangers get trapped underground and it's not just parking tickets they should be worried about. Ghosts, urban legends, and existential dread. Honestly, it's like the Final Destination got locked up in SM parking. Rough around the edges, sure. Fun and I might not park in SM again? Absolutely. Now, what made this movie so underrated? First of all, the trend mismatch. In 2014, mainstream Pinoy horror was dominated by family-driven, possession-centric stories, i.e. The Healing, Pagpag. Basement tackled a contained monster survival story instead, which felt odd to audiences expecting haunted families and religious horror. Another factor is the atmosphere. Instead of focusing on traditional jump scare every 5 minutes pacing, Basement built a dread through silence and claustrophobia, a style closer to Western creature features like The Descent that is not familiar to Pinoy audiences back then. And lastly, the budget. Practical effects for the monsters were very limited. Some viewers dismissed it too early for looking cheap, not realizing it leaned into suggestive horror, rarely showing the monsters in full to amplify fear. This is actually a classic horror trick dating back to Alien, if you have watched that movie. Basement is a rare Filipino horror film that prioritized suffocation and isolation over gore. This is a style way ahead of local trends at that time. Ever wanted to whisper your wish to a dead person and then have it come true? Spoilers, bad idea. Don't do it. Don't ever do it. Bologong mixes horror and comedy. Parang horror movie na merong sabaw moments, but somehow, it actually works. Behind the jokes, there's a creepy lesson. When you mess with the supernatural, you're signing a contract you can't read. This movie is low-key telling us to not cling too much on the dead, because the dead might cling to you as well. Now, what made the movie so underrated? First of all, the genre confusion. Bologong tried to make supernatural horror with dark comedy, but in 2011, there was barely any appetite for horror comedies in Philippine cinema. Most moviegoers expected a pure scarefest like Feng Shui or Sukob. Another factor is the audience expectation clash. Star Cinema heavily marketed it as another Chris Aquino type of horror movie, so audiences felt confused when they were served punchlines along with the hauntings. And lastly, the pre-Marites humor. The film's use of rumor-based horror or gossip whispering was ahead of the current Marites culture obsession we have today. It would have been way more relatable if it was released now. Kasi maraming chismosa dyan sa inyo. If Bologong was released today in a world obsessed with gossip, with chismis, and TikTok storytelling, I feel like it would easily be a cult hit. Puty. This one feels like horror's artsy cousin. Puty is about a painter who loses sight after a freak accident and then starts seeing things he shouldn't. Think less jump scares and more of what is even happening anymore type. Reality blends, memory twist, guilt leaks through the walls. It's like if Black Mirror and the Twilight Zone had a baby, and then the baby was raised in Cubao. That's Puty. If you like weird horror, slow burn, and existential films, Puty might be your jam. Now, why did it become underrated? First of all, surrealism over straightforward horror. Puty doesn't handhold the viewer. No, it demands interpretation. Much like David Lynch's films. Example, Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive. For a 2013 Pinoy horror crowd used to linear ghost stories, this approach felt too art film and alienating. Another factor is the low theatrical push. Despite winning awards for being the best production design at Cinemalaya, it lacked mass marketing. It barely had wide distribution outside niche indie circles. And lastly, the psychological depth. Themes of guilt, memory loss, and altered perception dominated the story. More psychological thriller than a ghost story in it itself. It asked the audience to question reality, something very few mainstream horrors dared to do at that time. Puty was Philippine horror's attempt to go Inception level mind games before audiences were ready for it. But I feel like now, if we get to watch it right now with the mind level that we have, I feel like it would be a great hit as well. Imagine moving to your dream condo. Great view, nice amenities, and oh, by the way, it's built on a cursed land vortex where bad energy gathers. You'll still buy it for sure because it's cheap. Tumbok takes Filipino superstition to a whole new level. It's like feng shui horror, except you can't just move the sofa to fix it. You'll start questioning every strange condo ad after watching this film, I promise. Now, why is it underrated? First of all, cursed space horrors was way ahead of the trend back then. Tumbok deals with a cursed intersection, the wrong feng shui and the land-based curses. Something that only became trendy in Hollywood much later with films like It Follows, which uses cursed spaces and cursed pathways. Another factor is the marketing misfire. The trailer sold it as a fast-paced urban horror, but the movie was more about slow, creeping doom, akin to Kaidan style of the Japanese horror, slowly building terror through unseen forces. And lastly, the star expectation was a mismatch. Christine Reyes, coming off of her sexy image from Eva Fonda, was cast as the lead. A great actress, by the way, but the audiences came with completely different expectations. It was more scandalous drama or action, and were instead served with metaphysical dread. Tumbok feels more like an urban myth creeping into your daily commute, and that's what makes it uniquely terrifying.
May matang nakakakita. Ngunit di alam ang katotohanan. May katotohanang di kayang ipaliwanag ng kahit sino mang nakakakita.
Mas matindi pa sa kulang.
Barang.
Alright, I might have a bias on this list, and Barang would definitely be my bias. Barang goes hard. This movie goes hard. Forget about fancy ghost or haunted houses. No, this is about old school witchcraft, curses, hexes, rituals. This movie feels like your lola warning you, don't talk to strangers. Kasi baka nang babarang yan. I don't know if your lola says those things. I'm sorry if they don't. It's raw, intense, and creepy in a way that hits close to home. Kasi alam mong maaaring mangyari. Kasi in some provinces, they believe that barang is real, that barang do exist. Now, why did it become underrated? First of all, the rough aesthetics. Barang looks dirty, sweaty, and unpolished in a good way. Unlike the slick urban horrors of its time, this one is different. That wasn't accidental though. It captured the actual atmosphere of rural superstition. Messy, unfiltered, and full of paranoia. Because rural superstition should look like that. It needs to look like that. Another factor is the pre-folk horror revival. It came out way before movies like Midsommar by Ari Aster. A great movie. If you haven't watched it yet. It made folk horror a little bit too fashionable. Audiences in 2006 preferred polished ghost stories. Nobody was ready for deep dive curse horror rooted in Filipino witchcraft. And lastly, the budget. I hate it if this is the factor. Budget gaps hurt the perception of the movie. Despite its solid performances and a grounded script, a lack of strong marketing and visible budget issues, some prosthetics and effects were actually spotty if you'll go and watch the movie, it led to be brushed aside by critics and audiences. Shame. Sad shame. Barang is a raw folk horror that smells like soil and blood. And that's exactly what folk horror should be. So if you haven't watched this film yet, go watch it. It's worth it, I swear. Each of these movies tried to break molds before audiences were ready to let go of old formulas. Some leaned too hard into atmosphere. Some blended genres people weren't used to. Some refused to polish their horror for mass appeal. But that's exactly what makes them worth rediscovering now. So if you want to watch this movie, if you are looking for some movies, some horror movies to watch over the weekend, take a look at these 5 films. And that's it. 5 underrated Filipino horror films you probably didn't know existed. Sometimes the best scare doesn't come from huge productions. They come from the scrappy, gritty, slightly janky movies made with love. And of course, lots of nightmares. Which one creeped you out the most? Or maybe you have your hidden horror picks as well. You can share them in the comment section. If you like this kind of breakdowns, this kind of videos, you can hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. And maybe in the next video, we'll talk about the things that you love. If you'd want a part 2 of this video, you can tell me in the comment section and we will make a part 2. Until then, I'll see you on the next video.